Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all doing well. I got a couple of people in the chat. This is a completely off schedule live. Hold on, that's Devil Dog. I owe you an email, and I'm actually writing it. That countdown finished quicker than I was expecting. Here we go. Sorry about that. Ta-da! Moving from a Mac to a Windows back and forth, it absolutely messes me up because the controls are different. And I'll like control and my screen goes blank, and I'm like, that was not what I was supposed to do. Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Carpenter, how are you? And Lioness, hello. And it's raining here in Southwest Arkansas, enjoying the sound on the tin roof. You know what? That sound does make people lazy. I can vouch for that. It just demotivates you, makes you want to go lay down and have like tea or bourbon, or depending on how the day has been going. I wouldn't put bourbon in the tea. I've tried that. That's not tasty at all. It tastes awful. So anyway, quick question: can everyone hear me and see me? And oh, I got bread everywhere too. What the hell happened back there? I don't know. My kitchen's a disaster today. I have a working kitchen. At least that's what I tell myself. Can you guys all hear me all right? Because I was having a little bit of issue in the back studio earlier. And okay, thank you, Linus. I appreciate you. So, yeah, this normally I'll do an early video when I commute, and then one around lunch. I might do one in the afternoon. And today it was, oh, I know what you 5 divided by 5 versus 5 by 5, but that's okay. I knew what you meant. Um, but after the convention and the late nights and early days, and actually moderating and emceeing and judging presentations, I was done. My 5 o'clock alarm went to like 7. I was like, I'm done. Rebuilding kitchen sink cabinets. I procrastinate a small leak for too long. Oh yeah, and those do damage. See, the big ones will do damage. Don't get me wrong, but the little ones, by the time you notice them, I think they tend to do worse damage over time. Uh, those are just they just hey Joe, what's up, Vato? So oh, and now I got like 5 million emails just came in. I don't even know from when the hell they were supposed to come in. But in any case, so yeah, I logged in this morning, check work emails, check my university emails, realized I had a project due Monday. So I was like, you know what? I'm working remote today. And I like got on my Teams meetings and knocked out the paper. Hey, Moldy, what's going on, my friend? Uh, so I gotta tell you, I was a little bit off on one of my predictions, but I wasn't that far off. But I thought it was shit, Yahoo Financial. There we go. So I thought they kept saying the market's going to take a pretty nasty hit this week, and it did for a bit. And then they're saying like, oh well, it's going to head for a losing week. So now I'm like, all of you guys are drunk. You're predicting wrong. Let me see if I can find that article. Here we go. So let me see if I can share this without making myself crazy. Share a screen. There we go. Can you guys see that? There we go. Okay, bueno. Yeah, Wall Street stocks edged higher Friday, but were poised for weekly losses, having sold off after the Federal Reserve signaled that interest rates will stay higher for longer. So a lot of people were thinking the market would really tank with that news, and it didn't, which is good because it kind of keeps our dollar value not as horrendous. Working and listening. Bueno, got all my adulting done and passing the hours until time for drinky with drinky. Um, I was pondering a beer, but I don't know. Can we drink beers on live streams, or do they shut you down? Like, I'm not even sure how that works anymore. I went to the shooting range once with the 22, but I didn't take a picture of the firearm. I took a picture of all the little metal targets on that competition range. That's when we shot Super Chicken. For those of you who didn't see that, you have to go to the video. And but all the targets, and then there was a big chicken, was super chicken. I was trying to knock it down. I didn't get busted at all. But I did another video where I was doing a review of a pistol, and I got shut down twice. And then I realized you can't even show, even if you're in a range in a safe place, um, getting shot right square in the ass and having to address the wound. I have talking about dressing a gunshot wound to the butt. Man, I don't even know how to react to that. Hey, farmer, what's going on? 30-year mortgage just hit 8% interest. God. Hey, hillbilly. Hey, moonsprout. So, oops, what's going on? I'm a believer in that. Blast ass. Um, I'll tell you what, I've seen people get peppered with birdshot in the butt because they crossed fields of fire stupidly because one was drinking and one wasn't paying attention. That's a bad combination. And he got peppered in his left butt cheek, which was hilarious because it obviously from a distance hit the ground and then went up. So the velocity was very low. It was like getting hit with multiple BBs at once, but it shredded his left butt cheek pant. And he was bleeding a little bit. Like some of them got into the flesh, and he was like, "Ah!" And yeah, and that ended the hunt because numbnuts got shot in the ass, which I was upset about because the dove were flying that day. Like I had already hit 3 in the first 15 minutes, and those white wings are hard to hit. Okay, well, if Pinball has beer in a live stream, they hadn't killed him yet, so yeah, I probably could. Right through the cheeks. Russian Jew out of Ukrainian mooning him. Oof. Well, for the record, hey, KP Heathen, put your beer in a coffee mug. Well said. Or put my rum and coke in one of these. This is water today. Does anyone else do that? Like you get I don't know, an iced tea or something from some fast food place, and then you use it as a water cup for like the next 3 days until it dies. Hey, Mimi. So yeah, the stocks jump, but the interest rates are still going up. And as somebody just pointed out in the chat, uh, hold on, let me go back to that. Sorry guys, here we go. Yeah, it did hit 8%. So that's high, and that's killing folks from trying to buy new homes, trying to upgrade their current homes. It's just absolutely insane. Let's see if I can do a calculator because this is always fun. Just to hold on, let's see. Okay, so let's just to give you guys an idea of 20% is coming. I agree. And bought X. I said it was a million, but they must get that. That's Forrest Gump. I got shot in the buttocks, and then he moons the president, which was kind of funny. Although the president technically asked the man where he'd been shot. So this when I get agitated because of the way they're doing financials. So this is a really simple mortgage calculator, right? So let's do this. Let's see. Let's take a $250,000 loan, 30-year fixed, and let's say it was 3%, which was typical. Oh, let's include taxes and fees. Woo! And say you have a good, we'll leave the credit score the same. Okay, Texas works. So it's saying your monthly payments about 1,400 bucks. 3%, it assumes a 20% down, right? This is like your generic, typical house equation, if you will, right? And then it estimates property tax, estimates homeowners insurance for the area, and this is what it comes up with, right? And I'm using Texas because I'm familiar with it. Now, let's say you go to 8%, just so you guys can see that. Look at that. So you went from 1,400 to 22. That was a jump of almost a grand, just under a grand. And you're welcome. Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, how do people do that? Like, it's crazy. In my neighborhood houses still selling like crazy, way above asking. And you know what's going to happen? See, a lot of the people buying those houses, they're like, "Oh, my house is worth so much. I have equity, therefore I have wealth, and they may be tempted to take out an equity loan to upgrade the home or to do something else, pay tuition, pay off a car, whatever. And what they do is if the housing market drops, the value of the home goes with it. Now, when they sell, they had the $250,000 home, they took out this home equity loan, but now the house is worth 200. Now you're still on the hook for that other, that difference there. What credit score? Joe's credit score is paid in bourbon or vodka. The housewife and I bought 194K price, 25 down, good credit, some percentage, 30. Yeah, and then you add the insurance and property. And that's the other thing. So the new home builders can be full of shit. Make sure you have a realtor who, one, knows their business, and two, is not too friendly with the new home builders. I'll tell you why. Because you'll have folks will build a home and they'll say, "Oh, you can get into the house," and they'll do exactly that, farmer. They won't include the interest, or I'm sorry, the interest, the insurance, or the property tax, and they'll say, "You can get into this house for, like you said, a grand a month." And people say, "Great," and they'll say during the conversation, "By the way, it will get appraised. Your tax may go up." But what they'll do, they'll get a bank or some appraiser that they're buddies with, and they'll appraise it a certain way. Well, when the state comes around, that, say $150,000 home is now 240 and your mortgage jumps. Plus they're now adding the tax and the insurance. People get screwed. And then you're upside down and there's no way to do anything about it. So you wind up selling the home at a loss. Hmm. Joe. Hey, Cold War, how are you? So can't believe banks are approving loans for these inflated values. See, and that a lot of them don't know what they're getting into. Um, when I did that exercise with my mortgage company, they have that calculator, and it said, so I know my house will appraise in a certain area. The state sends me my statement every year and says, hey, this is what your house appraises at per our appraiser. You can dispute it if you go here. Okay, fine. So I got this value. And then they said, we have our appraiser, which was a little high, but it was within 10%. And I said, that's believable. It's a little high to me, but it's not unreasonable to what I understand my home is, both in the market and by the state appraisal. So that kind of gave me three reference points. And I kind of have this bubble where I know that's where it works. Well, the freaking mortgage company said, you can appraise with this special company. It was 120 grand higher. I'm like, there's no freaking way my house is that price. That just can't be. And then I thought about it in the same little window. They say you can also take out home equity loans. So what they'll do, they want you to get on the hook for a loan. They'll tell you, okay, use this appraisal value, and they give you, say, your house is 300, they give it to you for 400, your appraisal, and you take out 100 in equity. But when you sell the home, you're not going to make four, you're going to make three. So now you've got an extra 100 grand sitting out there as a separate loan. Plus, you have to pay off that house, and it just they're playing these games, and if folks don't read it right, and you can dispute it. It depends. You can't always sell your house for what the tax man says it is, but it doesn't hurt. It depends on how the market is. If the market's hot, you can at least set a basement using the tax appraisal. If it's depressed, it may not help you that much. But yeah, Cold War brings up a good point. 3.5 VA loan. There you go. So unless you got perfect credit and cash up front, no. No, now is not a good time. And even with good credit and you have cash, it's overinflated. So sold a bunch of cows, paid for it before. Not a bad idea. Hey, Nunya. Wait, Nunya snuck in here. Hey, Grateful. Y'all snuck, a bunch of y'all snuck in here. Hold on. Ooh. Hey, Daryl. I got you. No, I appreciate you hopping in and saying hi. Never creepily. There you go. So that's something to think about, because you think about it, this fictitious house we just did went from 13, 14 to 22. So imagine if you have an adjustable rate loan on your house, right? If you're going to take out a mortgage, always go fixed rate. That's what would happen, right? So by law, legally speaking, if the bank says, "Oh, your rate has now changed," I can sue the shit out of them and I'll win because my contract says something, and that's what it is. And I also noticed when I did that exercise on my bank webpage, it said you have an option for a different loan, but it had an adjustable rate caveat at the bottom, really small. Suburban, what did you say above? Hold on. Bank will even accept the short sale. They can come back and say, yes, that is absolutely correct. Is if they accept the short sale, that actually happened to me on a rental I had in Houston. Um, Part of the reason I was struggling is because the SWAT team took my tenants out. And after that fiasco, it's like, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to find another way to, like, if I want to rent out property, I'll do Airbnbs or some shit because that was awful. But yeah, that's absolutely true. Thank you, Suburban. I missed that one. Bought my parents' house 5 years ago. Hold on, I'm missing a few here. 80 in return. Hmm. That's correct. And thank you, Suburban. I appreciate that. My bro-in-law is, and he does that. Okay. So, hey, Jason, what's going on? So, folks, understand, and I've said this in my previous lives, understanding how the financial system works and the tricks they play, right? The little things they throw in. Like I said, I read that whole thing. My wife was a realtor for years. We had moved so many times. We've gone through the buying and selling process in multiple states, multiple times. So I'm looking at these hypothetical numbers going, y'all full of shit. And so I just closed the window. I'm like, yeah, I'm not pursuing this. That none of the numbers made sense. The interest rate went up, the total mortgage I owed went up, the monthly payment went up. I'm like, this is just stupid. I get no value from this. And they called me. I kid you not, like within 24 hours, I was getting the phone calls like, we saw you were using the online calculator. I'm like, yeah, and your numbers suck. So yeah, we won't be doing that. So we'll see. Uh, Yeah, so if you have to, or if you're helping someone find a car or a house, have your numbers in advance, at least understand what your credit score will approve you for, because everyone's playing little games right now. And it sucks. And it's folks like all of us who have to get up and go to work, regardless of what your job is, we're the ones who are suffering. Because I promise you, Bill Gates and Soros and all those assholes, they're not. They are all fullable. I like that. That'd make a good, yeah, if you can do cash, that's great. But even if you can't, if you can put down, it makes you more attractive. If you pay down debt, like all of it goes together. And they keep saying we're gonna have economic issues. Silver went down this week, so I was right on that. It did not go down as much as I thought. I thought it would go down about a buck. It went down about 50 cents. And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an engineer who loves number patterns. But had cocoa gum. Why? Oh wow. Yeah, it's like when you pay half your mortgage every 2 weeks versus paying once a month because you got 52 weeks versus the 12 payments. It comes out to an extra payment on the far end of it. Oh, Reddy Harris. Tropical storm Ophelia forms in the Atlantic. I still get the notifications from the coast. Okay, that's so you kind of know what goes on. Uh, oh, you're talking about it wasn't an extra payment. The net total went up because they charge you a handling fee. That's what it I misread your message, yeah. So they probably did whatever it was, say 600 bucks, 100 bucks a month, but then they wanna charge you 650 and you're like, "Where'd that go?" So when we bought Sassy's, little SUV, we went in, she's in accounting, so we went in and we already knew my credit score. I'd already gotten pre-approved for a bank loan from my bank, and I had an interest rate there. So I wanted to see if they could beat it. So I had all my numbers, and I knew the market value for that vehicle was between A and B. And so they're like, "Yeah, so your monthly payment will be X." And then we go to the finance guy, and it's to be 100 bucks more than X, or 200 more than X. And we're like, "Well, wait a minute." So we pulled out we did all the calculations and had everything written down. We said, "This is what we had. Why is it 200 bucks more?" Because every year I'm going to pay, X thousand more. And he couldn't explain it. And I'm like, that's a problem. So you need to figure this out. And I just pecked on this guy. That's the car salesman my wife made sick because she was just on him. And then the assistant manager came out and she was on him. And then I was on that guy. And finally the manager was like, I'm going to give you the finance guy. This is the best we can do. And he showed me all the paperwork. And we're like, okay. But yeah, it doesn't make sense, y'all. Um, they'll call it a handling charge though, that or a special payment processing they'll find a way to finagle it. Okay, so you know what I did, yeah. And he didn't realize until he had it figured out already. He was trying to bump your interest rate so you can make money. Yeah, he was throwing like I guess in housing they call it points. He was throwing something in on the back end, and then he said, "Oh well, the computer automatically adds that," and we're like, "Well, you need to automatically remove that." And the other thing I did, I said, because otherwise, I mean, we're hungry. So if we can't close this deal in 20 minutes, we're going to leave. And he's like, well, but your car isn't, we'll have to get your car keys. I'm like, I brought both sets and I brought my truck. So we brought both vehicles. So either we'll drive out with the spare set of keys or we'll go to dinner and you had better poop out the keys when I come back or a cop will be involved. I've actually said that to one salesman because they misplaced our keys. And after about 30 minutes, my wife and I were tired, and I was like, "You know what? We're gonna go to eat, and if we're back in an hour and my keys and car are not in front, we're gonna be calling a constable. I will charge you." And all of a sudden, magically, they got our keys as we're walking out the door. Go figure. Right. You're paying interest on a house before any principal. Right. And so that's why I'm not. I don't remember if they're buy down points, and they call them points, and I don't remember the specifics. But what is this? You're paying the interest house, right? That's correct. That's an amortization. So I don't have an amortization book, but basically, it just says on a 30-year loan, if your payment is this much per month, this much goes to principal, this much depending on your interest rate. It's like a whole table. Um, so they often say if you can like pay 100 bucks extra every other month or something and then specify 100 principal only and you start knocking that principal down real fast because yeah you do pay, it's not all of the interest, you do pay principal but you pay more interest than principal. When people would say that, oh no, but what we would have happen was they would hide our car keys, and they did that once when we were a young couple that completely caught us off guard. And so after that I'm like, we're trading in if we're trading in vehicle A, I'm going to follow you in vehicle B, vice versa. So we have another vehicle and we have all the keys, and then there's one that we're having for the trade in. And yeah, no, I basically we walked out. I've walked out of car dealerships because the guy he kept changing the numbers. I'm like, look, this is retarded. You wrote down on this paper $21,000 or whatever it is. It was we were hoping my son get his first car. It was a little Toyota with the bougie shit in it. And I'm like, now it's 27. Like, where the hell did that come? Oh, well, our salesman made a mistake. Well, make sure he didn't make another mistake. Or did he only make mistakes in your favor? And the manager and I got into it. And I'm like, personally, I think you're all full of shit. So I'm going to take my check, my son, my wife, and my business. We're going to go somewhere else. And I walked out on the assistant manager. As I'm pulling out, the manager comes out and he goes, "Hey, hey, we don't want you to leave like that." I'm like, "How else can I leave, dude? I mean, what the hell was that?" And he goes, "Well, I said, "You know what? I've got an appointment with Ford and one with Chevy." So, but it's not a I think it was a Toyota or Dodge, I don't know, whoever. I told him two other dealerships that I did have appointments with. And he said, "Oh, well, it's not gonna be whatever their brand was." And I'm like, "No, but at least, hopefully they'll know what their cars cost and won't change by, 40% or 30%." And he was standing in front of my truck, and I said, "Are you gonna move, or, like, do I have to move you?" And he said, "What does that mean?" I said, "I'm gonna hit the gas and you're gonna get knocked down." And my wife was already recording. I'm like, "She's recording this whole conversation. You're blocking my truck, and you are now illegally confining me on your property." And the minute I said it like that, he backs up. He walked away. I was an asshole. I never bought from that dealership again. I actually told other people to go away. Through a car dealer plate glass window. Wait, did he throw the car dealer through the glass, or did he throw the vehicle through the glass? I'm super curious. Wait, hold on. Car dealer was trying to sell a bunch of crap and was wrong with his truck. That was just in for an oil change. Smart as maintenance says, "Do you actually think you are a lawyer?" He said, "Yes." Oh, what? Yeah, some of them were pretty, some of these folks, and the ones who say, "Hey, look, my company needs me to get this percent, so I can't go below this number, but this is the best I can do," and lays it out, and we can look. I get it. They gotta feed their families. They gotta make money. I get that. But yeah, when they, had some military, well, that was in Houston, so they had a that was near a college, so they probably had a lot of young kids go in there, and they would, beat them up, and the kids are stupid, they don't know. Most of them don't know. I've seen a few were really savvy, but I had to call the cops on one dealer that refused to give me my car keys when I said I'm leaving. Oh, yeah. Hey, Nostra. I know one on on a 13K car ended up 26 on pay. What? There's another thing is not understanding what's happening. So we had a neighbor in Houston. There was a single gal, she just got her first little house, right? She was probably about 30 years old. And she said, I got to go get a new car. Her car was like an old, atrocious thing from whenever her parents got her, yeah, mid 20s actually. And I'm like, okay, well, best of luck. So she shows up the next day and she has, remember the stupid PT Cruiser? Everyone thought they were so cool and they turned out to be caca, right? Because they look cool. They look like a Matchbox car, but then they were trash. And a lot of them were anyway. But she shows up with a new PT Cruiser. And I'm like, all right, she got a new car. And, good for her, right? And then, like 3 days later, she's got a different car. I'm like, what the hell happened? Did they have a problem? So we asked her, and she said, "Oh, well, they told me my payment would be 400. It was going to be 700. And then it turns out that they were leasing it to her, not selling it to her. And there was like a whole bunch of other stuff going on." And I'm like, okay, sweetheart, first of all, you walked out of a dealership with a vehicle, not realizing you were leasing and not owning. And second of all, if I calculate a price and you're a 50, $100 off, eh, but not if you go that far. Hold on a second. We got a guest today. What's up? Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, not much. What's going on with you?
Oh, we are talking about the mortgage and car sales games that are played with people, and stuff that has happened. For instance, losing the keys for the vehicle you're going to trade in, and then they can't, now you're stuck there. So now I always, that happened to me once when we were young. So now I bring two vehicles to a dealership, and I'm like, "That's fine. We're gonna go get Whataburger, and when I come back, you'll either have my keys or I'm gonna have a deputy." So So what have you had any experiences like that?
No, I did buy a truck one time, and they only had one set of keys, so I got to be careful not to lose that set.
Oh, yeah, one set of key. Have you ever brought 2 vehicles?
No,
No? Okay, see, we did that. They were playing games in Houston. Yeah, but then again, I guess you still could just call the law and tell them, "Hey, you know what? This guy won't give me my keys back."
that's crazy that that happens like that.
Yeah, it's kinda scary. We were just doing, those online calculators for mortgages, and, "Hey, welcome Educatified," and that would be a follower on Twitch. So, we got folks on Facebook too. It's like I got all these little logos, and it's kinda messing me up now. But, we were talking and like, a 3% interest on a mortgage, I created a fake house, and it was, 200. I'd use 250,000, and I just put the fake numbers in, and payment was 1,400, and then interest rate doubles and the payment doubles. It's real terrible. How's the housing and stuff by you guys?
It's crazy in my area. Um, the houses are going for way more than asking price. I know 5 years ago when I bought my house, they were going for $20,000, $30,000 over asking, and I wasn't playing that game.
Wait.
So
Oh, wow.
the house that I ended up buying, we went and looked at it. It was for sale by owner, and he was asking the price that he was asking, and I went and looked at it, and we decided that we liked it. And I told him, I said, you're asking this amount, and I'm willing to give you that amount. And he's like, well, I got two more appointments. I'm like, look, I'm willing to pay you what you're asking, so we can shake our hands and move on with it. And that's what
Yeah.
happened. So I'm not going to play that game.
Yeah, no, and you can, and they'll play these games. What is it? Nostradamus. Toyota dealer pulled the one key thing on my sister, promised in writing to give her a second set later, then asked for $600 for the second set. Wow, that's terrible. Suburban hillbilly. When I bought my last car, I had them so tore up. The manager walked in and threw their invoice on the desk. Told the salesman to give it to me for 150 over the invoice. Yeah, that's crazy, man. So, folks, if you don't know Devil Dog Prepper, your channel, how long has your channel been on?
I made my intro video a couple weeks ago, and it's just I've been wanting to do it for a while, but with I coached my daughter's softball team. We did travel ball in high school and everything, so we were constantly playing softball all the time. So she's off to college now, so I now have the time to do it. And between my job and softball, I didn't have time to do anything. So, but
Oh,
now
I hear you.
now I have the time, and so I just been doing a lot of canning. I've been doing the videos on it. It's just trying to find the time to edit the videos to get them out there. So I got a couple videos out there, but I need to get some more time to edit my videos and get them out there to help out with what I'm trying to do.
Oh yeah. I don't know what happened to Kentucky Survival. Still debating what was worse, the hangover or getting bounced like a basketball. Uh, but folks, if you haven't seen Devil Dog's channel, like you said, it's under a month old. It's almost a month old by now, no?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I didn't realize when I got into this the time it takes to edit some of the videos, especially if you're pre-recording it. Yeah, you
Yes.
can kind of wing a live stream a little bit, but if you're if you're if you got something a little more technical and you're trying to cut out like the dog barking, man, it can be like it's for a 30-minute video, it takes you like couple of hours of not just recording, but editing and making sure you don't sound stupid and they can
And,
actually see you.
and I didn't realize it was going to be this extreme. You know, when I started doing this, I probably started when I did my intro video. I started recording, and I would mess up or whatever, and I'd hit stop and delete probably 300 times um, before I finally did it. You know, I went down in my basement. I'm like, whatever I do on this intro video is what they're going to get, and because the computer I have won't. Um, this I have the editing software, but my computer won't. The graphics card doesn't allow it to work. So I got to get a new graphics card so I can edit my videos. So
Oh,
right now, any video I do is raw, no editing. So, but yeah, I've probably hit delete 300 different times on that intro video, and finally I got to the point I got stressed out. I'm like, this is it. Whatever it is what it is. So
no, and it can you can make yourself nuts. I found this actually. I'm trying to post your link, but uh, YouTube is arguing with me for some reason, and it won't let me. One of my mods can. I don't know if any of my mods are actually in here. Hold on, Mr. Wolfang, you are now a mod. So if
but
we
no,
can
as far as
find, oh, there we go.
my
He got him.
videos that I'm doing, you know, I do a lot of canning. You know, I have an 85 by 65-foot garden that I did this year, and
Oh wow,
I started everything by seed out in my garage, and just to see what I can do. You know, before this year, I'd go to the store and I'd get the plants and whatnot and plant them and
right.
then harvest the vegetables or whatever. But this year I wanted to start them. I got heirloom seeds and I started everything. I had over like 350 plants, and so I've been doing a lot of canning and putting stuff back
Man, I
for
want to do canning. I'm afraid of the lack of space. And then if they relocate me next year, which I'm hoping will be the last one or
yeah.
year after, then I have to move all those cans, like, all those jars. And
Oh yeah.
Mylar has become my friend. I've gone the other way just because of, but it's interesting. You think about it, your situation, you guys are probably going to stay there or stay in that area
For now.
for now. And I already know they're going to move me somewhere in the next
There's no different home, so
24. So it's funny. Hey, you got Nostra, just sub, Kentucky, Lioness. You got a handful of folks in there, buddy.
thank you.
Yep. And let's see. Hold on. I think a few other. Oh, there's Kentucky Survival again. Thank you, Cold War, for popping that up there. So I haven't used StreamYard in a while, and I forgot a bit of how the interface works. So I'm sitting here going, "What the hell does that button do?"
No, I was
But
on Vision's live stream a couple weeks ago, and it wouldn't work out. He's got a different platform, a different streaming service now. So,
yeah, he told me he liked it at first, but now he's battling it a little bit.
but my mic wasn't working, my video wasn't working. It was giving feedback, so I
Really?
just cut myself out of it, and so
See, and that sucks because it's hard. You want to try and bring in, like we've all been trying to, like people did for me. You try and bring in new channels who you can
yeah.
collaborate, and you get them, and you can't see them, you can't hear them. I did the same thing with the 2,800 square foot garden. Neighbors let chickens out, and they destroyed over 200 tomatoes. On my green beans, stripped my fig tree.
Wow.
Oh God, you need corgis. I endorse you to buy one, Suburban, because I promise you those little dogs that just chase birds everywhere, that would make them so happy. The birds wouldn't be happy, but you would. But well, shoot, man. So, what do you think about? I got an article, man. We can talk about real quick. And again, I didn't have any specific plan for this one. I just wanted to get you up here so you folks could meet you a little bit. I don't know if you saw this one. Governor Abbott officially declares invasion at Texas-Mexico border. And I don't know, maybe the chat may know. Cold War knows a lot about this kind of stuff. Legally, what does that do? Does that force the feds to do anything? I'm super curious about that. So Governor said, officially declared an invasion at our border because of the policies. We deployed the Texas National Guard, DPS, and law enforcement. We will continue the wall, razor wire marine barriers, and we are repelling individuals. Eagle Pass recently received a great load of immigrants that overwhelmed city officials. Doggone, man. You know what's funny, Devil Dog, is a lot of what have plenty of chicken in the freezer, I guess. Yeah, no kidding. Did you have chicken for dinner? Oh, and Joe may have Metal as his DJ tonight. A lot of things are put if the president doesn't enforce existing. Yeah, this is a good point. Cold War. A lot
Well,
of
it's pretty
things that
sad
get
that
forced.
the governor has to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
have a one of my friends' kid is down there in Texas. He's from Ohio here, but he's down in Texas right now
right.
with the National Guard. Um, but there's not much they can do.
No. And you know what's funny? They somebody was saying, well, the Mexicans are coming. Actually, unless they're a cartel, dude, they're like us. Like we can get a passport and go to Cancun. They can get a passport and go to New York and visit. They're coming from other places. Like I'm hearing the federales are having issues on their southern border because of people coming in from Central America.
Yep.
And man, I don't even most of them there I'm hearing they're not even from like Latin America at all. They're from somewhere the hell else.
I know when I was we did a road project in Laredo, Texas,
Yeah,
and right on the Rio Grande. It was for the border patrol because it was just like you could only get like a four-wheeler down this road, and we made it to where you could get two lanes vehicles on it and stuff. So, and they would come across Rio Grande, and border patrol is like, don't try to stop them or apprehend them. But they would come out of the bushes. The border patrol would come out of the bushes and apprehend them and stuff. And it's nothing like it is today with them coming across.
yeah. It's send the Seabees to build a wall. Wolfgang. But it's got to give Abbott a high five. He's at least trying to hold his ground. Well, what he's done, he's sent them all to New York, and now New York's pissed off at the mayor and the governor. But you know what scares me, man, is and I don't know if you feel the same way. I said it on my live stream earlier this week. 9/11 happened with what, 13 guys on the ground, plus whoever their funders and supporters were. I personally think we've got people here who are just waiting to do something. They just haven't been told what to do yet. I mean, do you have that sentiment as well?
Yeah, I think that, from little that I know about the people that are coming across, I mean, I read some articles where they have, of Russian descent or, Chinese descent. I mean, how do all these Chinese people get to Mexico in order to get across the border? You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, this is all planned and designed for whoever. I don't know. So it just seems kind of funny that this is happening.
Yeah. Wolfgang says yes, sleeper cells. That's true. I've been put in Instagram jail a couple of times. Have they put you in jail anywhere, Devil Dog?
Put me in jail for
Like Instagram jail or YouTube jail?
no. I try to stay safe on that end. So
They put me in jail for putting a video about human trafficking.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that's
And then I got stuck in I couldn't respond for 2 weeks to anybody. But it took off on YouTube and TikTok, so I'm like, I don't know what to make of that. It's just why one platform decided that one video offended them.
yeah. I try to play nice for the most part because if I don't, then I could go a million different ways. And so I try to stay on the straight and narrow for the most part, only because to try to get whatever message I'm trying to get across. It don't do you no good if you are in whatever jail you're in. So
Yeah, no truth. Cold War says there 5 divisions were 30,000 military age, unaccompanied Chinese males in clean clothes, good haircuts, and clean shoes. Talk about sleep. That's not even a sleeper cell. That's just like a shopping at Walmart cell. Like I don't.
well, that's what I don't understand. You have all these middle-aged men, these military-aged men that are coming, and it's not, they're the news portrays it as families and children, but everything that I've seen, they're military-aged men, and they complain about their country that they're coming from. Well, my thing is why don't they do exactly what we did when we got tired of England and Britain back in the day? We fought them. So why don't these guys, instead of coming 2,000 miles up here, why don't they get together and do something in their country? Because when they do get here, then they want to try to do their lives like it was where they came from. And that I
Yeah.
don't understand. Like, if you wanted to live that way, then why did you leave the country you came from?
Why don't you stay there? Yeah.
Yep.
And I even heard one report, and I don't know how substantiated it is. You remember what Fidel Castro did when he took power back in like 60s, 70s? He basically emptied his prisons and sent all of them on boats to Florida,
Hmm.
and like uh, along with the regular people that were fleeing communism, and it just caused a bunch of shit. I'm hearing there's certain countries like Venezuela doing the exact same playbook. They're just like, we're going to send these idiots up there who, all these whatever they are, because nobody wants them. Have you heard anything along those lines?
Not that I haven't heard anything like that, but I know that it's something somebody is coordinating this stuff in order for these groups to get where they're going. I mean, because you don't just walk from Venezuela.
No.
It's an island, so it's you got to get a boat ride and everything. So, and what I know with Venezuela, I mean, people are, ever since the collapse of their economy, they don't have the money. So somebody's funding that stuff, and
Well,
like you said
yeah.
earlier, these people are coming across the border in clean clothes. How are you clean shaved and look like you just took a shower if you just walked 2,000 miles?
Yeah.
And you know, so that there's something behind that.
That's interesting. Yeah, they're getting funded. Yeah, it seems there's a lot of things at play right now. It's almost hard to keep track of it because you got the interest rates, the inflation. They're not enforcing street crime.
Hmm.
Um, and now we've got this influx of individuals. So it almost seems like they're trying to well, it does look blatantly like they're trying to destroy the fabric of the society. Because even when the Cubans came, there were a lot of families that came, and then there were the criminals. But
Hmm.
what we're seeing on the news is just who the hell are these guys? Hey, what's up, ghetto?
And they don't. I honestly don't think that they show exactly what's going on because they don't. The news and the media is not what it used to be back in the day, so they want you, what they portray now is what they want you to believe.
Hmm.
And
It's funny. I need to look. How far am I from Eagle Pass? We'll go there and wind up getting arrested. That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Actually, that would be awful. Oh, that's a bit of a haul, even for me. Whew. I'm half tempted to go take a road trip to El Paso and then go down to Eagle Pass and just see for myself. That would be a hell of a live stream, wouldn't it? I'm telling you, man. But Bentley just started hitting me on the leg. He may have to go potty here in a minute. My dogs are like, "Hey, you've had enough fun, Dad." But yeah, it's rough times, man. Between the Nostradamus, we can send our criminals, but then Congress and the way. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I think we'd be better off taking like random, people, no criminal record, high school diploma or better, works for a living. Just pick 100 random Americans. They could probably do a pretty decent job in the Senate. Teach them how the system works, and hell, I don't know, man. It's a mess.
Oh, that's definitely a mess. Oh my God. I read the article this morning about what Fetterman wore to the House or the Senate floor when uh, the Ukraine president was there. And it's like, I don't know. I don't see how that guy got in there, honestly.
Yeah, it's a mess, and I'm concerned it's at a time where we really need, what did they used to tell us? Make a right decision or a wrong decision, just make a call.
Hmm.
And I don't think we have the people we need to make that call, to make that decision and go, hey, yeah, let's do this. Let's try to make this right. I don't think. Yeah, it's frustrating to see this, and then like the numbers we were talking about earlier. The citizens can't afford homes. We can't afford cars. Our groceries are what, at least 20% higher, in some cases more.
Yep.
And then, here we are. How's it been, the groceries in your area? Have they gone up over the last 18 months?
Yeah. So, actually, one of the reasons why, I got into doing what I do was because my work was talking about forcing the arm ticket, and I wasn't going to play their game. So that's why I started doing what I am doing. And so I took pictures. I was just going through my phone the other day. I took pictures. I went to Costco and the grocery store to kind of compare on buying, canned foods and stuff. And I just happened to go through that, like one item. So olive oil, I
Right.
got, I think it was like $24 2 years ago. I bought a 2-pack from Costco. It is now $38 for that same 2-pack.
What was it before?
$24,
Holy shit.
and it's now $38.
That's almost a 50%
Yep.
increase.
So
Yeah, how did the young couples just starting out, like how do they buy anything? It's just insane. And that's at a wholesale place like a
yeah.
Costco.
Now, like
Wow, that's insane.
everybody talked about eggs going up. In my area, it went up to about 2.50, $3 a dozen. It's now back down. It's down to 99 cents a dozen now. But
Yeah.
everything else is pretty much gone, stayed where it was at, you know.
No, yeah, it's rough. And all we can do, like you were doing, the canning, the Mylar bags, whatever you can, even if it's
Yep.
just regular canned food, that's the best you can get your hands on. Do it.
Yep.
Um, because who knows, with the government shutdown and all that distraction. So, man, I'm gonna call it, but do you have any final words, and anything you want to say you're gonna be doing with your channel in the near future so folks can kind of learn a little more about you?
Yeah, I'm just, I have my goals that I want to get to. I just try every day to better myself and my prepping and stuff. So there's days, obviously with work and everything else that I don't get a lot of time to do it, but I still try to force myself to do something each and every day, because who knows, I'm 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 never going to say it's gonna happen tomorrow because I don't know, but I'm going to try to prepare myself and my family as best I can. And in the meantime, I'm going to try to make the videos and bring people along and show them how I do what I do, you know. So I watch a lot of different channels, and I kind of put how I do things. I take a little bit from everybody, you know. So some things are not by the book, and people can take away from it how they want, you know. So,
Yeah.
but people just need to do what they can each day. You know, if it's only
Yeah.
a couple different items, you know, a week, that they're that much farther ahead. You know, there's no excuse of, you know, of not picking up a couple extra of this or that to set aside, you know, because everybody has their downfalls, you know, whether they're paying for um, different apps on their phones or their TVs, or they smoke or they drink or they, you know, eat out. You know, you can set a little bit back by doing that every
Cutting a
week.
little bit of that other
Yep.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep. And, you know,
Well, you think about it, you go to like Whataburger or Chick-fil-A, wherever you pick up your, fast food kind of thing, busy day, you're just grabbing something to eat on the way home. But that $20, shoot, how many canned goods could you get at Dollar General or Walmart
yeah.
for, although less now, but still you could put a
Yeah.
lot of cans off to the side or rice.
Well,
There's still
that's like
stuff we can do.
you look for sales. I mean, yes, granted, this the stuff nowadays, the items that go on sale, you are paying. You think that you're getting a good deal, but you're actually paying what used to be full price 2 years ago.
Right.
They're now calling it on sale, but you're not going to get it any cheaper than that. So you got to get it, you know. So um, that's what I do. I look for sales and I shop at different places and get what I can. So even though I can a lot of my stuff, you know, I just picked up a half a cow or a half a pig the other day, and I needed room in my freezer.
Right.
And so I took out some stuff that's been in there for about 6 months to a year, and I thawed it out, and then I canned that stuff to give myself room. So now I have fresh pig in the freezer, and I got shelf stable pork on the shelf. So
Yeah. So anything, folks, you can do. I mean, he's spot on. Within your budget and your means and what's available. Because I would bet for every one of us here in the chat, there are what, 16, 17, 18 others who are doing absolutely nothing. And those are the ones I worry about. It's not the other preppers. They say, oh, they're, what do they call them? The predatory werewolf preppers, chupacabra preppers, whatever the hell they were. Um, those what scares me is the general public having a big freak out, and then they fight over toilet paper. But yeah, no, 100%, man. Well, brother, I'm glad you're able to jump on. I know I caught you kind of everyone off guard. I was going to do this quick live stream, and I'm like, oh, let me see if one of the guys can jump on. So
well, I appreciate the invite. So
yeah, so folks, don't forget, the link was somewhere in the chat. It's gone now, but Devil Dog, DAWG. Remember the spelling, because if you do Devil Dog, you get like 40 other channels. So
well,
um,
I had to go that way because of the email, because I have my email for my channel, and when I did that, somebody else already had Devil Dog DOG, so I
yeah,
changed it up. So
yep. Thank you, Cold War, folks. So he's up there. Um, go check out his channel. Go say hi, leave a like. The usual rigmarole. You can share out this video or his video. And go, let's start helping some of these smaller channels, because everyone's doing things like we were just talking about. We're doing things a little differently because everyone's situation, location's different.
mhm.
So this is a great way for folks to learn more, and then take what makes sense for you and use it. So, well, okay, folks. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Devil Dog, hang out just for a sec while I say goodbye to everyone, and then we can sign off. So, ladies and gentlemen, do something this weekend and be safe. And thanks for joining us. And we hope you guys have a blessed and safe weekend. We will see you all later on.